Hi, this is Pat Kelly. Okay, in this problem, they give us this g of x, in this case x squared plus 6, and that's all they give us is the algebra of the function. They don't show us the graph. In fact, the graph is one of the things that we're going to do in this problem. And what else we're going to do in this problem is figure out what parent this function might have had, what transformations would have been done to that parent in order to get to this g of x function. We'll do the graph, and then finally write g in terms of f. So write the child in terms of the parent. We'll get there, okay? All right, now, when it comes to figuring out the parent function for the function that's given to you, what you really want to do is strip away all the extras if you can, and just try to figure out what's the basic thing going on inside the function. Like in this case, x squared plus 6. I'd argue that the plus 6 is something extra. And the real heart of this expression is just the x squared, okay? That's exactly what I want here for my parent. F of x, I'll say, equals x squared. Now, there wasn't too much going on in that one, but for some of your future ones, let me try to give you the advice. Again, you strip away all the extras. As you're trying to do that strip away, don't ever mess with the powers, okay? That's something you're not allowed to strip away. But if there were something on the inside of the parentheses, let's say before exponentiation, that you want to strip away. If there's any kind of multiplication out front, like a coefficient, strip that away, ignore it. And of course, any pluses or minuses, even like we saw, ignore those to get down to the heart, and that's what your parent function is going to be. All right, now back to this problem. Next, they're asking me for the transformation or transformations. In fact, they ask for the sequence of transformations. Now what we're looking at is what all would have been done to that parent function in order to get to this g of x that they gave us in the problem. Now you can see with mine, there's not too much that they did. In order to get from x squared to x squared plus 6, they just added 6. But again, as you're getting into some of the more involved expressions, what you want to do, since they said sequence of transformations, always start as far in as you can, so as close to the x as you can. If there are those parentheses before exponentiation, focus on that first, and parentheses there would suggest a horizontal shift, either left or right. A coefficient next might be out in front. That would suggest to me a stretch or a shrink, or if it's negative, maybe even a flip. And then lastly, outside of all that, is there like a plus or minus going on? That's all I have here is the plus 6. And those should be, the pluses and minus outside should be clues to you that it's a vertical shift. That's all I have for this one is just that one transformation. So my final answer is going to be a vertical shift. Vertical shift. And then of course, specify vertical shift. Specify up or down, and then also by how many units. So the plus would suggest to me up, and then obviously the 6 is going to be 6 units. Okay, parent function, and I know the transformations to get to our g of x. Next, they asked us to graph that g of x function. I'm actually going to start by graphing the f of x. I think this helps, because these are the functions you should know what they look like and be able to graph pretty quickly. X squared is our good old parabola, right? So just like this. The reason why I think that helps for the start is if you're looking at what the parent function's graph is, and you know what transformation's been done, we're just going to follow these directions to our graph. These directions say vertical shift up 6 units. So I'm going to take this parabola and just shift it up 6 units and not do anything else to it. So for me, that's right about here. I'll try to draw my parabola, and that would be my g of x. Okay? Last thing is now they want the algebra of this. Write g in terms of f. So my g of x equals. And now what you want to be thinking of is how to algebraically represent these transformations that are going to be present in your function. And again, I only have the one, but if you had some kind of horizontal shift, that's when you would want to do f of And then inside parentheses, it might be x plus something or minus something, depending which type of shift it is, to the left or to the right, and by however many units. I don't have a horizontal shift, so I just close those parentheses. If there's a stretch, or a shrink, or a flip through the x-axis, there's where you might want to put a negative sign, a positive number, a fraction, whatever type of stretch or shrink it was. I don't have one. And then finally outside, kind of after all that, do your vertical shifts, ups or downs. For me, I have up 6, so that's going to be plus 6. And that'll be my answer for this problem, okay? I hope that thought process helps you, though, for some of the problems where it's a little bit more involved. Definitely got to practice more on your own, though, okay?